Hello, everybody, and welcome, finally, to another episode of RetroActive's Corner. Oh, my lord. Would you stop?
Go ahead.
You gotta make sure to mute that freaking thing.
Hold on.
Seriously. Anyway, joining us here today is, of course, Master Chief 2011 and our good buddy, Phoenix Fire. So here we go. Say hello, bud. Hello?
Hi.
There you go. And today we're reviewing the movie as well as the video game GoldenEye. The reason why we're doing it here on Friday is because it's Phoenix Fire's birthday today, and so we decided to do this specific RetroActive's Corner today on this day.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday, bud.
Thank you kindly.
Alright,
Thank you.
for those of you guys who are new onto the channel, we go... I swear to God. That cat. Anyway, we go by 5 categories. Story, characters, music, design, and of course, when it comes to movies, atmosphere, was video games, gameplay. Now, of course, atmosphere can apply to all the other groups, such as music and all. Basically, it applies to everything that isn't video games. Since gameplay is the most important part, more important than the atmosphere sometimes, and sometimes the gameplay is dependent on... Sorry, the atmosphere is dependent on the gameplay, that's where we go for. So, first we're going to get started with the movie, and then we're going to go straight into the video game. So, of course, we got Phoenix Fire right here. So, Phoenix Fire, my friend, what do you think your overall rating is going to be for this movie?
50.
A 50?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Phoenix
All
Fire
the way.
has given it a 50. Master Chief, what about you?
Let's see. I don't know. I was thinking between probably about 45 is what I was looking. What I was eyeing.
45. Mine, you would be surprised, is 40. But
Interesting.
but the only reason why I put
decreases.
the only reason why I'm putting mine at a 40 is that I honestly haven't seen the movie in a long
Excuse
time.
me. Sorry.
And it's really interesting that I don't remember too much of the films, sad to say.
Well, it's one of those ones, but we'll push through it.
Alright, so
We'll get you through.
Alright, so we'll start off with story. Honestly, the story is, again, pretty self-explanatory for when it comes to 007. Of course, the suave British special agent goes on a mission to save the world. It's pretty much the standard fare for every single one of the 007 movies. Except for the newer ones. The newer ones, I think, tried to at least do a few things differently for its trilogy. With Daniel Craig, I believe.
Well, I think.
But it still saved the world.
Well, I still think that each Bond brought that they brought themselves to the character, you know, and then that kind of transforms it into Bond. It didn't matter if you were Sean Connery, or if you're Roger Moore, or Timothy Dalton, you know, Pierce Bronson, or Daniel Craig. When you start taking a look at it, you know, each one brought who they were into the character, and then it became Bond.
True.
You know, it's kind of like all the actors that had to be Doctor Who.
That's true.
You know, that's kind of a big thing right there.
When it comes down to it, I think if anything, I honestly think the story itself is pretty solid. I personally like the story overall. What about you, Phoenix Fire?
It was a good story, actually. It's a fresh take, really, because if you think of it, it was 6 years since we last seen Bond on the screen because of the late 90s, early 90s. We were supposed to have a third Timothy Dalton movie, but they kept stalling and stalling. So basically, for 6 years, we didn't see 007 for such a long time.
That's true.
And then out of nowhere, GoldenEye came, and it's like, it caught the world by surprise, like, oh, 007 still exists.
Yeah, also...
So basically, with the story, like, you could tell the Cold War coming to an end. They were trying to focus less on Russia and communists, for the communist storyline with the previous eras.
Mm-hmm.
They were bringing it into the new age.
That is
They
true.
were bringing it up to date with what was going on in the world for that time.
Yeah, especially since at the time that the Cold War technically ended in 91, so... And the movie, I think, came out, in 94?
95.
95, thank you.
95.
So... Oh, yeah.
You're talking to a Bond nerd, okay? So it's like I kind of know all this useless crap.
True. There we go.
There's so much useless knowledge about 007. It's
True. And honestly, for what it's worth, I could definitely say, without a shadow of a doubt, that yeah, I think it definitely did move the franchise into the new age. And for what it's worth, I actually do like those updates. It almost feels like that we're setting it in real time. Or at least that's what I
about
believe.
the story. It actually showed us that even, well, I'm ripping off the video game when I say this, but even trusted friends are capable of betrayal. Because all we knew about 006 was he was a friend of Bond and they worked together on many missions. It was the first Bond we actually got to see someone within MI6 turn against 007 and actually become the enemy.
That is very true. It definitely, started that.
We did see that in any of the other movies. We've seen the odd corrupt CIA or FBI or other secret agent, but we never seen anyone from MI6 turn against 007 to become his own worst threat.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering about that noise, it was actually because the wind is going through the styrofoam over
Well,
there.
actually,
That's covering the fireplace.
it's kind of bad that the wind's blowing pretty good going through the chimney, and the block that we have, it actually kind of makes it like a fart sound.
Yeah.
And it's driving me crazy because I'm right next to it.
That's unfortunate. But, yeah, so guys, what do you think of the overall for a score of 1 to 10 when it comes to story? Because it definitely did a lot of things different compared to all the other ones.
Well, birthday boy, Phoenix Fire, you start us off.
I'm going to give it a 10.
A 10?
It brought basically, well, the 90s war. It evolved with what was going on at the time, technology for the time, bringing the characters into the new era of terrorism that we didn't see in previous eras.
That's true.
Plus, we got to see some sides of the characters that we never thought they had in them before.
That is very true. What about you?
For me, I've always liked Bond stories. Doesn't matter who's playing the characters, stuff like that. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into, because what I really like is basically like how they integrate Q into everything that Bond is, and of course Moneypenny, and stuff like that. I think what you really get is that's a lot of continuities to the story right over there too. You kind of want to know what the new gadgets are. You want to know all of those different things. But as a Bond story in itself, it is, to me, I love the Bond series. Watch the Bond movies. Even though probably everyone's least favorite, the least favorite Bond is probably Timothy Dalton. I think that with everybody out there, because he only did 2 films.
Dalton was awesome.
Well, I mean, he was awesome, but what I'm saying is, as a box office, he was probably
he was a flop.
Yes, he was still a great Bond, but compared to everybody else, he just, he had the suave. I mean, it was almost kind of like Michael Keaton's Batman, where he was really he's probably the best Bruce Wayne.
As well as the best Batman.
And he is a good Batman.
He is the best Batman because he actually takes the role very seriously. And not to mention, he can make Batman smile and seem so damn terrifying.
But I guess what I'm saying is the fact that when you really take a look at Michael Keaton's character in its sense, Michael Keaton, to me, when it first came out, did not seem the Batman type, but very much, to me, the Bruce Wayne type. And that's the reason why I liked him so much.
Can we just get back to 007?
Well, no, but I am too. But I'm just saying about Timothy Dalton he was the suave, the James Bond that kind of meets the women, but as the action hero part, I didn't see it. That's just me, though.
So what would you score it then?
I think don't be the darker version of Bond that we wanted.
Oh yeah, yes.
But what was your score?
Bond was darker than any of the others.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give mine an 8.
I think
because the reason why I like
saying about Timothy Dalton.
Well, no, I'm just saying about Timothy Dalton is the fact that I really liked him as the suave Bond, you know what I mean? But it was hard for me to really get into him as the action part of Bond, you know what I mean? That was just
that's what I'm
Yeah.
I'll be honest, you saying about Timothy Dalton, it's like going back even further to Lazenby one, Her Majesty's New Service. It's like they tried so hard to differentiate him into be his own Bond. At the same time, they were trying to make him into Sean Connery at the same time. Like, he's not Sean Connery. He's not going to be Sean Connery.
Yeah.
He's doing his version of 007. Stop to make him something that he couldn't be.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right. One thing Timothy Dalton really wanted to bring
especially
back.
when in the beginning.
Yeah, one thing he did say in an interview that he wanted to bring back classic Bond. You know, that really debonair. You know, the one that could go in there and woo everybody and stuff like that, which I thought he did very well in. It just when it came to the where the spy and the that's the part that I just didn't think he pulled off as well. But he definitely pulled off, that vibe of, like a Roger Moore, good-looking guy. Same with the Sean Connery. I thought he did a really good job there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For when it comes down to me, I'm giving it an 8. For as much as I do love the story of James Bond, and yes, this one did add a lot of new twists and turns that haven't been seen at the time, I honestly think that overall, yes, this is still better than the Timmy Dalton films of James Bond, but I am going to say it's not the best overall story. It is definitely among them, but not at the perfection level that I saw with the Sean Connery, or, yes, surprisingly, the Daniel Craig. What?
Another thing, too, with the new era with GoldenEye, the playfulness with Bond and Moneypenny, they actually got to keep up with the times compared to back in the day with the old Moneypenny and Bond, because for the first time, Moneypenny took her playfulness a bit, well, not too far, but when she teased Bond about sexual harassment, it was just trying to keep up with
the times.
Yeah,
not just play things.
Yeah, and like I said, it was there are a few things that unfortunately did deter me, because that scene I feel like was a little forced. They could have done it so much better. And that's just personally me. Because trust me, I've seen, it almost reminds me of that sexual harassment commercial that was shown back in the 90s as well. Or I think it was 90s or was it 80s? I don't remember. But yeah, basically that one was pretty interesting. And I think they forced the dialogue on that one. That's what it kind of felt like to me with GoldenEye on a few scenes. But not entirely. It's not going to deter me from the film, though. Alright.
It's not an eyesore.
Now let's go on to characters next. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. This is one of the most popular James Bonds we've ever had at this point. Because here's the thing. For as popular as Daniel Craig was, and for as popular as Sean Connery... Well, we're not going to count Sean Connery or the other ones from the 70s down. We're only counting, 80s all the way to now. No other James Bond has so many video games under his persona. I'm not even joking. Pierce Brosnan has so many damn video games. It's with 007, it's unreal. Because one of them, yes, is GoldenEye. The other is Everything or Nothing. That was the first 007 game I ever owned and ever played. Yeah, I played that before GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. Plus, I also think it had a better theme song overall. Anyway, sorry, sidetracking here. But overall, though, the characters were pretty decent overall. But yeah, for a James Bond performance, Pierce Brosnan does a fantastic job. What about you guys? We'll start with Phoenix.
Yes.
Again, another 10.
That was quick.
We gotta see fresh faces.
Yes.
Like I say, I'm a big Bond fan. I say we gotta see fresh faces. We gotta see some old faces, some characters that we loved from previous franchises, well, previous movies. So it's like we gotta see a whole new thing for characters. Like it's nice to see them, let's say, modern day, so to speak.
So
They seem more relatable. They would seem more relatable to us for GoldenEye, because in the older ones, sure, we love the characters or whatnot, but sometimes we couldn't relate to them. But they try to bring them relatable to us.
True. I'm looking at the cast list right here, and there's actually quite a bit here. There's Famke Janssen, who is Xenia, on the top. There's
On the top,
yeah, Natalia, who is played by Isabella Scorupco. And of course Sean Bean, if you guys know him as Boromir, and the guy who consistently dies every single time he gets a chance. I know that sounds really harsh, but seriously, name one movie where he hasn't died in some shape or form.
I can think of a TV show where he was a fantasy for a vicar for a British comedy.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. I mean, like just like overall action movies. Like he dies in Lord of the Rings. He dies in Game of Thrones. Sorry for spoilers. But seriously, like, come on. Like, good lord, the dude has died in almost everything he's been in.
But also, this is also the introduction to a female M, right?
I believe so.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, it was the introduction to a female M, because at the time there was a female in charge of MI6, well, MI5, and they wanted to keep up with the times.
Yeah, that makes sense. So so they tried to bring some realism, right? Right there and then. You know what I mean?
Yep. And Desmond played Q.
Yeah.
You were keeping up with the current time.
Yes.
I think the female head of MI5, I think her name was Sheila. Or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah. Who played M was Judi Dench.
Yes.
Dame Judi Dench.
Yes.
Yep. And of
She's
course,
a
Boris in the movie was played by Alan Cumming.
Who doesn't like Alan Cumming? Come on.
Oh, I know.
You can't say no to that man.
Then, of course, we got Godfrey John, who played Arcady. Jack Wade was played by Joe Don Baker. There's a lot of interesting actors here.
Same thing. Scratch up top and see if you win. See if you find money.
But overall, so you see your full performance is gonna be a 10? Oh, got something? Yeah. All right, so yeah, I think. What about you?
For what?
For characters.
Characters? I'm gonna probably give the characters Actually, I'm gonna have to give them a 10.
I'm going to agree with you guys on this one, 10 for me, because honestly, the cast is really good. Yeah. You don't see many casts that really pull off the 007 feel like this one does. And
it was our it was our reintroduction to the 007 universe after 6 years of waiting.
That's true.
Yes,
honestly,
that is true.
They needed to get a cast that can introduce the movie so people like, okay, we know what we're watching. It's easy to get into. It's not going to distract us from a big star that's really up there that deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to a cast that people actually will recognize, that they're going to want to enjoy.
Yes. True. Also, not to mention, overall, I think the cast, not only they got a perfect group for the cast, honestly, but each and every one of them feels like they belong in that universe.
Well, when you start making changes like that too, sometimes you have, it takes people time to kind of warm up to some of those things also. Mm-hmm. Even though that this was a very good, it was a very good movie. As I said, I really liked the the whole premise of I like the whole premise of the fact that they brought on a female M and all those other different things. It gets to the point that where people are still getting used to it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, he wants us to stretch.
All right.
Okay.
Also,
another thing too, if you think of it, fun fact, MGM finally got their wish to get Pierce Brosnan as 007.
that is very true.
Yeah, because they wanted him before.
Ever since Free Rise
Timothy
Only.
Dalton, I believe.
They wanted him
Was
to
it
do
that?
Free Rise Only. They wanted him to replace Roger Moore.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Remington Steele, because he still was
Yeah,
under
that's-
contract to Remington Steele.
Yeah, so basically from after they approached him for your eyes only, he couldn't do it. Remington Steele got on the way. It's like he had to decline, and then they wanted him to come back for Living Daylights, but then again, Remington Steele got renewed and picked up, so he had to turn it down again.
Yeah.
And then finally, when Remington Steele came to an end, he finally got to approach the role, and of course he was going to take it with open arms.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. This almost feels like a reverse situation. What happened to Adam West? He basically never got the role because he was so stuck in that role for Batman. But we'll talk about that during the because there's actually a question about him, so we'll be asking that one in the future.
So was Robert Vaughn.
Robert Vaughn, yeah.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. too was under contract, so he couldn't be Bond either.
True. There's actually a theory that one of my friends thought of. That each 007 that we've seen in all the movies, even though they may be different people, they're inheriting the name James Bond.
I've heard of that fan theory.
That fan theory seems pretty sound, since every single Bond, it looks completely different, yet they all have the same name. I'm wondering if they inherited the name of James Bond overall.
And a funny thing is, too, if you think of it, Bond, for GoldenEye, Bond comes full circle for the United Kingdom.
That's true.
He's been Scottish,
Mm-hmm.
English, Irish, Australian. So he finally comes full circle.
Yes.
That's true.
Oh yeah, he was also Welsh.
We actually have family in Wales.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So he full circle for the United Kingdom.
There you go. There you go.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yes.
All right. So, next, of course, we gotta go to music, and what can I say? The freaking music's amazing. Because, here's the thing. It's 007, people. You're never gonna find a movie franchise that has the most consistent soundtrack that, except for maybe Star Wars. But, however, that's sci-fi. This is spy action thriller.
And plus, the thing is, if you really take a look at how the music is and stuff like that, because you always have, the dun 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 dun. It doesn't matter. Every action scene is going to have something very similar to that just kind of just gets your blood going.
You have to admit, though, they really upped it in this movie.
Well, and
I was gonna say, go on.
Compared to the Timmy Dalton, Sean Connery, and all that, they really upped the theme song on this one, where they just gave it a booming orchestra, more than the other films did. They made it much grander, in my personal opinion, this movie.
There's also a step up too. They moved from the classical era to the more techno synth,
yes,
upbeat type of music. Because pretty much all Bond movies, from Dr. No when it began, to basically License to Kill, it was basically somewhat classical and soft. It wasn't really what the music was of today. And then GoldenEye came, and it's like it was for the music of that era. It started to go with the time.
Yeah, according to it, the music was by Eric Serra, and I'm actually going to look him up a little bit more. Oh, yeah, it is him. Okay, that's what I thought. He was actually involved in The Fifth Element. He was involved in the music of The Fifth Element in that movie. Sorry, there we go. But yeah, it's actually pretty interesting.
Well, and we always get back to music too, because when you start taking a look at the music makes the movie. it heightens your senses. It gets you really involved into what's going on. So a lot of times you don't always need the high explosions or the really crazy, out of the world scenes. You can take a basic scene and actually make it 3 times more than what it is.
Very true.
Just by good music. And the thing I like of every Bond movie, even from the classical till now, is how they utilize their music in the actual movie itself. Because it seems like it just doesn't matter, you could take almost every movie and there's always the great scores that go in there that make it right.
True enough.
And another thing too, if you listen carefully, all the other Bond movies, they've corresponded with that movie's title for the music into it, for example. So like, say for example, you can hear instrumental parts of that movie's theme song, but yet with GoldenEye, they completely did their own thing. Like, you know what, we're going to break record, we're going to break tradition, we're going to add different scores, different music for different scenes. We're not going to do that instrumental crap no more. We're going to focus on a new wave, a new theme, how we're going to do Bond movies for the music.
I think it's the bottom part.
No, I got it.
Anyway, actually, I believe that Tina Turner also was involved in GoldenEye's main theme.
And plus, it's also...
Yeah, she's the lead singer.
Yes.
And good lord, again, you can't go wrong with Tina Turner.
Actually, she wasn't originally the first choice.
I'm trying to remember who the first voice was supposed to be.
Well, let's take a look here, too. You remember back in For Your Eyes Only with Sheena Easton.
That is true.
So they were already
originally
thinking...
For Your...
What?
Sorry. Go on, you were saying about For Your Eyes Only, then I'll say what I was going to say.
Yeah, what I was saying is for that particular part, though, I think that's when you really started seeing a little bit more of trying to, because that was back in the 80s, so they were trying to find an 80s song to be able to go up there and contend with it and stuff, So you do see that in there, like if you go back to Moonraker and some of the others there too, where you start hearing a little bit more of the music of the time. But it wasn't like in GoldenEye where it was kind of the main setting to everything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where everything else was more kind of in the background, but it's still Bond. This one here, you still have Bond, but I thought the music was more, like Phoenix said, more up to date, more at that point, and it was more of a star than the classic part. So they kind of put the classic in the background. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, actually, fun fact, For Your Eyes Only, originally Sheena Easton wasn't actually hired to do it. Originally it was Blondie, Deborah Harry. She was supposed to do it, but because with her music being what it was at the time, a bit hardcore, a bit edgy, the producers and all that, like, yeah, this isn't the kind of direction we want to put in our movie. We can't actually go there. But thank you for writing a song. Thank you for your time. We'll pay you for what you did, but no, we can't go here just yet. So that's why last minute Blondie was replaced with Sheena Easton, and Sheena Easton did that ballad she did for Your Eyes Only.
And then, of course, if you look at the modern Bond, Adele actually did a song for them as well.
That was because of Daniel Craig. He insisted she do it.
Yeah.
And she finally caved in. She caved into Daniel Craig's pressure, and she said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it." And they got her to do it for the 50th anniversary.
Well, I have to tell you, like Sheena Easton compared to Blondie would not have been able to pull off the song.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, Blondie would have made it a lot more edgier, just because that's what who Blondie is. But this one here needed to be a ballad, more than it needed to be something that was edgier, and
Very
stuff
true.
like that,
Yeah.
And plus, if you, actually, I got the Blondie version of For Your Eyes Only, and it's on YouTube. It's also, her version is more like a science fiction theme.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when she says about chasing an echo in Sonic 3D. It's like, that doesn't quite go with the theme for what For Your Eyes Only was.
True.
No.
So what would you guys give the score for music?
10.
I would give it a 10.
10.
Yeah. The reason why is because, like I said, there's not a Bond movie that I've watched that it could, you could have went up there and even had a horrible Bond movie, but however, the music's always going to be outstanding.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
It's almost like for Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Like, see if, I am going to mention this, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. For as okay that movie was, the music was still fantastic. It's still John Williams.
Well, and the thing is, what I really, as I said, it's something that goes back and that you can go from now clear back to the first Bond. You know what? It's that classic. It brings you back. It doesn't matter what series, what part of the Bond series you're in. The latest Daniel Craig one. It doesn't matter. When you hear that classic sound, you start thinking about all of the Bond movies that you watched and that you loved and, you know, that you've seen repeatedly. That's what the music is supposed to do. And I think the Bond series definitely holds that for as long as they have.
Very true.
That's the reason why that I believe that, to me, Bond music will always be a 10.
True. All right.
Another thing too is as soon as you see that gun barrel pop up on your screen and the music plays, that's when you know you're going to be in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you know the music's going to be good.
Yeah, as soon as you see that, you're like, oh, here it comes, it's starting.
When you see that, turn to you, point that gun at you and shoot, then you know.
And the thing is, and if you think the Daniel Craig era, they really wanted to change it up too with the gun barrel. It's like they didn't show it in the beginning. They kept it in suspense towards the end. That's something you don't see very often.
Yeah, in the end, Daniel Craig's, the gun barrel actually shows up right at the end of the movie.
Well, and the thing is that it needs to. It's the iconic part of what Bond is.
Yeah, even the video games have this same intro. Everything or Nothing, GoldenEye. They literally had the same intro where it starts with a gun barrel aiming right at Bond, and then he shoots back at him.
And I'm just saying is that that's what ties everything together. That's what makes Bond Bond.
True.
Right over there. It's like it doesn't matter the minute you hear the score, the minute you see the screen, you can go back and you can replay every damn Bond movie that you saw up until the new one, and then you'll be caught up. You know what I mean?
Very true. Okay, now we're going on to design of the film. I actually have to say, overall, the design is pretty intense. I never expected them to just absolutely... They just absolutely wrecked it with the practical effects on this one. They made sure to blow up a lot of stuff in the movies. But again, it was a lot more... it was a $60 million budget, and not to mention... It was also the most action-packed, and I think that it worked very well for them in this one. They really brought back the action in 007 from Timothy Dalton.
And you gotta also think like this too, though. I mean, back in the 90s, you know, CGI is just it's.
Oh no, this was before the CGI of the other ones.
I know, but
mostly all just practical effects.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that they had it. You know what I mean? So you were going to see things back in the 90s, mid 90s. We wanted bigger things. We wanted to see things in bigger time. Because we had the ability to do that. And that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why that when GoldenEye came out, it was something that was really big. You saw the flashy. This was the era. That was the era back in 95. So that was something right there that when you look at it, you're like going, oh yeah, because you want to have something that is very, very big. You know?
Yeah, true enough. I am glad they used mostly practical effects for some of this stuff, especially since this was also coming off the heels of another big movie at the time, especially since its popularity was still going, Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yes. And you had to meet that.
Yeah, because there were a lot of movies that were coming out that were absolutely killing it. And this is about 2 years before the dark age of films, as many people call it, from 97 to 2003. So, this is just before that. What about you, Phoenix Fire?
Sure. Well, for a Bond movie, it had its explosions and whatnot, but it wasn't like, oh, we gotta blow this up just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They did reason to cause the explosion.
Oh, yeah.
Why we had to believe it. Not like some movies, oh, let's just blow it up, we'll get away with it. We don't really care. Let's do it. But they wanted fans to know, like, okay, we have to blow this up. We know it's something you like, but sorry to break your heart, but say goodbye.
Yep.
Because look at the scene with Natalia. we didn't know what the golden eye was. We just thought, okay, it's a satellite dish. It's nothing important. It's just going to be used for some kind of hacking or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Little did we know it was an EMP.
Yeah.
Really set out to cause destruction. Because I don't think we had ever seen anything that fancy or before or seen in a movie.
That is very true, and I actually agree with you on that. I don't think there were really many films that tried an idea like this.
No.
But, yeah,
I
overall,
know there were
though,
previous... What was it? I can't remember what Bond movie it is.
give me a description.
I think it was one of Sean Connery's. I can't remember Sean Connery's. But wait, when they used the satellite to hold the world ransom and...
Oh, God, what was the movie?
I know what you're talking about, too, because that was with Spectre, right? When
Give me a second.
Going against Spectre. Oh, You Only Live Twice.
There we go! That's what I was thinking of.
So if you have one right there, You Only Live Twice, and I can see that. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
But another thing is too is if you really take a look, Q was a very integral part in a lot of this. Also, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like I think every single time he only came out with maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 gadgets at a time, but normally it was something that was like, holy crap, this is really awesome. You know what I mean? Something that you could see happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to see through this one.
Hang on a second, guys.
Yep, you're right. It was definitely You Only Live Twice.
Yep. That's when he went in and he was yeah.
But yeah, overall though,
That's the only time I think we've ever seen satellites and whatnot as a threat.
That is very true, and that was back, I think, sometime in the 70s.
Well, that was 70s. You got to remember Moonraker too.
That was spaceships, I think. They were trying to take on Star Wars at the time.
Yeah, it basically right over there. But I mean, it was a lot of that too. It was a lot of almost because we got to remember NASA was big back in that time. You had Space Race and everything else like this. So I think they definitely took on that. That mystique of just going up there and saying, "Here's your astronauts." And it was funny that even in there is that how you hand your support pack. And Spectre caught that. And it was, as I said, it was pretty neat to see on how everything was going from there. It was actually a really nice thing.
All right, so what would you guys give the score for design? Well, we'll start with you, Phoenix.
10.
10.
They really did a good job for recreating St. Petersburg, because it made you actually think you were in Russia, but you weren't.
Yeah.
They were still in the UK, but it's like the special effects and team, like they've recreated so many locations. Like I feel like I'm actually in that country. I'm not basically where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I'm willing to say that
and that's the best thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing about the Bond movies too. You have to give credit. It's like you get to travel all around the world without using your passport or going on a plane. You get to really feel like you're in that country at that time.
Very true.
You get to enjoy that country. You get to see its riches, what it's good for.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to promote the tourism.
Oh yeah, true enough.
Oh yes.
What about you?
For me, I'm gonna have to give that a 10.
10.
And it goes for the same reasons too. Is the fact that it was the design, the way they utilized everything.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. I was gonna give it a 9, but it was so close. So I just decided I'm gonna be nice today because it's somebody's birthday. So I've decided I'm going with a 10. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
The reason why I'm giving it a 10 is different. Because they took a very similar route to Star Wars Episode 1, where he used the CG not just for the explosions and everything, but he used it to create the worlds that he wanted to envision for the series. And honestly, that's what I love about this particular one, is that they brought St. Petersburg to life. Just like how he brought... George Lucas brought all of his worlds to life.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, is something that should definitely be praised for, especially when you use CG that isn't for explosions. Or at least that's just my personal opinion.
Well, CG wasn't just for explosions, but it was basically CG was, at the time, back in the 90s, also was an expression of taking a look and taking your imagination and putting it on the screen.
Very true.
That is, and CGI was the only way they can be able to do that.
True.
But unfortunately, it also takes away your storytelling too. Where I don't think that you didn't see that in GoldenEye. You actually watched it as they used it. I want to say I want to use the word sparingly, but I mean sparingly without losing character development. I guess that's the sparingly I mean.
Yeah. All right. Now,
and you say about character, it kind of takes you back to Moonraker, how originally they were going to follow the book, but then at the time, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that was so popular because of space, and it's like, how the Bond producers like, okay, how do we compete with this? And they turned it into a space story so they can compete with those two giants at the time.
True.
Yes.
So they had to redevelop the characters into something, what could I say, a bit more fancier, a bit more exaggerated than we're used to.
Well, you got to remember too that even with Moonraker and stuff like that, you know, when they were like you said, but they also was going off the whole premise too that space was still space. You know, we just stopped Skylab, right? Not Skylab. I'm sorry. We just stopped Apollo missions, but that was still on the hearts and the minds of, you know, making that trip to the moon and all those other things, right?
Yeah.
And then if you really start taking a look at it, they were already in development of the after Skylab. They were also in the development of the STSs and stuff like that. You know, space shuttles. So you already know that everything was definitely hinged on what the NASA looked. You saw the ships. It was all NASA feel. And if you take a look, NASA was also thinking like an international space station, but it wasn't international, but it was going to be an American space station and all these other different things. So you really take a look that Bond followed more of the NASA feel, not necessarily maybe with the lasers with everything else.
Oh, yeah,
but
course.
it followed the NASA feel 100%.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think it's too, not to go off Moonraker again, but
Yeah.
some things did too. They should have kept the original Bond girl's name for Moonraker in the Moonraker movie.
Well,
yes, I love the name Holly Goodhead and all that, and they like to make double entendres for female names. But,
At least the name is in plenty.
but they,
I'm sorry.
No, that was
The only reason why
the
only reason why I say that is that Sean Connery movie, I swear to God, had when she introduced herself as saying, "Hello, my name's Plenty," and James Bond's like, "Well, of course you are."
Well, her name's Plenty of Fool. That's hard not to make a wisecrack.
Yeah.
You gotta admit.
All right.
I gotta admit, the Moonraker girl, they gotta put her name into a Bond movie at long last. We
True.
need the name Gala Brand somewhere.
Anyway, time for us to finally finish off this movie, anyway, with the atmosphere. And honestly, it's a James Bond film. What do you expect? The atmosphere is going to be freaking awesome. No matter what. And heck, even the poor Timmy Dalton films still had decent atmosphere.
yes.
They still kept the 007 atmosphere. This one blows up in spades. It's no wonder that not only did this movie succeed so well, since it earned $360 million in the box office, but it spawned a whole dang legacy of 007 video games with Pierce Brosnan's face on the cover.
Well, I think also when you start taking a look at atmosphere too and stuff, is the fact that there was a 6-year hiatus. You
Very
know,
true.
they were having a hard time. I think what it is that they had a hard time coming off Timothy
Contract
Dalton.
negotiations.
Coming off Timothy, coming off the Timothy Dalton idea of what Bond is. You know, it was people were starving for something. You know what I mean? They were starving for it.
Very true.
So I guess what had happened was.
Why does this sound like a line from Cats Don't Dance you just
I-
referenced?
I know, but the thing is that when you start looking at it from the all around, is that they were starving for something. So what they did is that they were very, very smart in how they did it and how they presented it too. And I really do believe that because of the smartness of the way they did it, this is where the game started spawning, because I guarantee you that everybody's been waiting to do a Bond video game. They just needed something to inspire them to have a Bond video game.
And as you guys can see right here, I do have GoldenEye. I don't have Everything or Nothing anymore. I sold it because, well, at the time I was an idiot. Again, I was a stupid kid who didn't know any better. And now I regret that decision. But the reason why is that GoldenEye, Everything or Nothing, those games, along with I think there were several others that were based on Pierce Brosnan, is that this movie came out possibly, in my personal opinion, the best time it could have. From the hiatus, from the age of the Soviet Union no longer being around, and now is the Russian Federation. With all that, I'm sorry, yeah, I think I'm right. I don't know, but let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong on the naming of Russia.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, that's the idea, though. This came at the exact right time it needed to, when it needed to. And overall, when it comes to the atmosphere, I'm going to give it a freaking 10. It deserves it. What about you guys?
Well, go ahead, Phoenix.
Again, I'll give it a 10, but if you go back to after License to Kill, well, Timothy Dalton, he was supposed to do a third movie, but it fell down to contract negotiations and them stalling with production. They kept saying, okay, it's going to come out this year, it's going to come out next year. They couldn't make up their minds what they wanted to do with it. They kept saying it was going to come out year after year, and basically it got to the point where Timothy Dalton's like, I'm not getting any younger, you know. I'm getting older. I can't be waiting up on my ass to do a Bond movie, because this requires a lot of physicality. It's like, you gotta think of me and my body. It's like, an old man is not gonna look good on screen, panting like a dog, trying to catch his wind, chasing an enemy.
Well, that's what happened to Roger Moore. You know, Roger Moore. I mean, if he would have stopped at like For Your Eyes Only, that would have been good. But then they had him do two. Then they had him do what? 2 other movies afterwards.
I think one other movie,
or Octopussy was the last 2. Yes, that's what I thought.
Well, it was 2.
Two other movies afterwards.
Octopussy and A View to a Kill.
Yeah, that's right. So, but my point is, by that time, I think that's what Timothy Dalton was looking at that point, was the fact that he looked at that and said, whoa, wait a second, you know, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to be somebody in a role for past his prime. 007 has got to be a person that's in their prime, and looks like they're in their prime.
Very true.
Know,
and with GoldenEye, too, there is another reason I give it 10 for the atmospheres. It's like, GoldenEye knew what it was doing. It's like, it kept us on the edge of our seats when it needed to be intense. It kept us on the edge of our seats when we were in suspense, like, oh my god, that's not going to happen, but it did. It's like, they spaced it out so that we knew when to be on the edge of our seats, when to hold our breath.
True.
So to speak.
And that's the reason why that I love the music part of it. The music part gets you prepared for that. Your heart starts to race. You know something's going to happen. You're just not sure when. Just like what Phoenix says, it gets you to hold that breath. It gets you to do that right there, and that's what works really, really well. They didn't try to do too much, but one thing that they did do is that they kept up with certain parts of the time. Basically, with the female M. You know, that was huge. You know, M has always been led by, you know, a guy. You know,
a male.
Yeah, a male, always. So to have a female M right over there, but I think what keeps it continuity. You still had Moneypenny. You still had Q, and they were, and I think that also keeps the classic Bond to the new Bond right there. So I'm giving. Well, let me get my score.
Actually,
my score is a 10.
A 10?
Yeah.
All right.
I have to use the head.
Actually, you say about Moneypenny and Q and M. If you think of it too, GoldenEye finally reintroduced the character of Bill Tanner, the chief of staff of MI6.
Oh yeah.
He was disappeared for a while there. It's like we didn't see him. We heard about the character, but we never physically got to see him after a while. But then GoldenEye, well, I guess you could say GoldenEye was the most down to earth of all the Bond movies.
I would agree, and it's nice
With
that
its
they brought
introduction.
back in the chief of staff, because what that did was it took a little bit of pressure off M. You know what I mean? Because you have your chief of staff there to help out. So she was able to develop that character and make her stronger throughout the Bond films. You know what I mean? So I think them bringing back the chief of staff gave her that ability to go up there and develop that character and make the character exactly what it is today.
Exactly.
And another thing too is they just didn't lean on Q and Moneypenny to propel the Bond for the story. It's like Bond. It's good to show that Bond has another ally within MI6.
Nice.
That we don't always get to see, but we know he's there to give Bond that support that Moneypenny and Q can't always give.
Very true. All right,
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah. Let me just do this. All right. There we go. All right, so, well, Phoenix Fire, we already knew your score was going to be a full-on 50. Well done.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, and for Master Chief, his original score was 45. Now is a 49. My original score was 40. Is now 48. So I was the biggest deviation from my original score. All right. Now it is the video game, as we see right here, the N64 version. And yes, if you guys are wondering, this game did get ported to several consoles at the time. It got ported to the Nintendo GameCube. It got ported to the Xbox. I don't think it got ported to PlayStation or Sega Dreamcast. Actually, give me a second. I'm actually going to look that up.
But it was never like the original for the N64. It was nowhere near the original.
Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I want to take a look at this. I'm trying to find out, did this game ever get ported to other systems?
If I remember right, it was an N64 original at the time for 1997.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It won't be years later till we got to see remakes and things like that.
Yeah, because I know that they did some remasters. Yeah, this is right here. There was a canceled remaster for the Xbox at the time. And
actually, we'll get to that in a bit. Phoenix has got a surprise.
Mm-hmm. And the GameCube version of the successor, Perfect Dark, was that. But yeah, there were other games such as GoldenEye Rogue Agent. I think also got that one.
There was a disgusting version on the Wii and Nintendo DS.
Yep, it was ported there. It was also ported on the GameCube. But yeah, strange enough, for as much as it's gonna be interesting to see how that works out, honestly, overall. But yeah, what do you think your score is gonna be, honestly?
Perfect.
You gonna give it a 50?
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to do Master Chief's score in a bit because he's gone for the moment.
Okay.
However, for me, I'm still gonna give it a 40.
Alrighty.
But here's the reason why I'm gonna give this one a 40. And it's mainly because of a few things. And trust me, I'm gonna bring up some of the issues with this game in a moment. For as influential as this game is, it does have some major flaws, which I'm gonna flat out tell you. And remember, and yes, if you guys are wondering, I will be playing this game on Saturday for to replace the RetroActive's Corner we were supposed to do today. Because, frankly, I'm a little scared to play this game. This game is not as easy as I originally thought it was going to be. I remember it was difficult back then. Yeah, but... Well, we'll get to that in a moment. First of all, let's start off with story. And overall, the story follows very closely to the film.
Yes, it does.
And I think it has less fluff in it, in my personal opinion, which I think is actually kind of a good thing. It concentrates on the gameplay, on the action, where it needs to. Where it makes sense, in my personal opinion. But what about you?
I give it a 10. It's like, in some ways you could say the GoldenEye game is like some of the missions and whatnot, they're like deleted scenes, you could say. It's like you got to see that one little piece of information that we didn't get to see in the movie, so the game kind of put it in there so we would understand what was supposed to be happening for the next scene in the movie to keep going on with it.
True.
Like, so to keep going on back and forth.
Very
If
true.
you ever were to YouTube GoldenEye the movie with GoldenEye the game, it's like you watch one part of the movie and then you see where the game would continue that scene, so you would understand what's going on.
That's true. I think they did really good at blending
That's
that.
how I feel. The game is like the deleted scenes of the movie that we never got.
Very true. I'm actually going to give it a 9. I believe the story was done much better in GoldenEye, the video game, than it was with the movie. In this case, I think they did a fantastic job with that one overall. And it's very rare to have a video game surpass a movie when it comes to movie-to-game adaptations.
And the game also had some Easter eggs and things from the other movies that the movie didn't think of adding at the time.
Very true, and that's actually one of the benefits of doing something like that. It's actually pretty interesting, honestly. But again, that's actually one of the beneficial things about video games, that you can bring in those Easter eggs. You can make all this possible.
I think it wasn't until Die Another Day, Brosnan's last movie, they actually did a whole lot of Easter eggs because it was the anniversary at the time.
That is true.
And they decided to put a lot of them in at the time.
Very true.
And they kind of went overboard.
Yeah, they did kind of go a little overboard on that one. Alright, so next we're going to go straight into characters. This is also including the characters from the multiplayer mode. Oh, dear sweet Jesus, I have issues.
I think we all did at one point.
And here's the thing.
Cheers.
And here's the thing. The characters in the story are good. It's the multiplayer that I have a problem with.
Job cheaters.
Yep, Phoenix Fire knows what I'm talking about. There is one infamous character in this damn game that was too damn short to shoot. Screw that little turd.
Did that on purpose.
Huh?
They did that on purpose.
And yeah, and I hate them
You know
for
they
it.
did. But at least they've rectified that by telling players and fans of the game, if you choose Odd Job, you're basically cheating. You're a cheater at this game. Stop cheating.
Exactly. Like, why?
They've rectified that. They've rectified that error after so many years.
True enough, but damn it, man. And here's the thing. This game was made by Rare. As in, the guys who created Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong Country, the greatest games
Killer
of all
Instinct.
time. Killer Instinct. And yeah, Perfect Dark is another one. Because seriously, these guys have made some of the greatest
I'll be
games
for
of
another
all
years.
time. But why did you put Odd Job? You know people are going to exploit the crap out of that character.
Well, if you watch behind the scenes of GoldenEye actually on YouTube for Rare Replay, because at the time Rare thought they were going to get to put GoldenEye on Rare Replay a couple of years ago, but that fell through. But they said they wanted to pay tribute to all things in the Bond universe, and they thought of who would be good to put in, and they thought
Too much fire.
Oddjob at the time was a good choice.
True enough on that, but
So
what
they
do you
wanted
think?
to.
What?
Hold on for just a
If you
moment,
think of
please.
it,
What is your overall score going to be for GoldenEye, the video game?
Holy crap. I'm going with 50, gentlemen. It was a lot of firsts.
What about story? Because we
Story?
already did that.
Oh, what'd you guys?
I gave it a 9. He gave it a 10.
Let's go with the 10.
Yeah, he likes it because it's almost like for some scenes they're extended because of the video game. Like what happened after this scene, or
scenes,
what happened
yes.
to this scene. Yeah.
The thing I really liked about the story is that you have to understand that an old gamer like me, I'm an old arcader. I mean, we're talking back Pong. We're talking about back in the beginning of everything, right? So when you start seeing games progress at the rate they were progressing and stuff like that, it was pretty awe-inspiring. And basically, having the 4 screens, going out.
We're talking about gameplay.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's gameplay. But
All
I'm
right,
just talking about the story itself. But you just have
It's
to.
almost like
understand
extending the scenes.
Yes.
All right, so and then we're talking about characters.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm still going to complain about Oddjob again. Seriously, that was the one character that did not need to be in that game. And yes, I know it's a fact that they even said that if anyone plays Oddjob, you're a freaking cheater. I know that. But seriously, if you're going to do that, don't put Oddjob in the game at all. And this is also the same company that made Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, freaking Perfect Dark. This is a company that is known for making good quality games during that era. And yet you give us Oddjob? What the f***?
I think when it
Well, you
gets
gotta
back.
remember another thing too. There's another reason why too.
It better be a good damn reason.
Well, you have to understand too that there's a nostalgia thing that goes with this. You know what I'm trying to say?
That doesn't excuse Oddjob. Normally it would excuse other characters, not him. Screw Oddjob.
You have issues.
There's a video I'm gonna have to send you. Retro, you're gonna have to watch. You're gonna have to spend half an hour to watch this video.
Have you played that game? Oddjob was so damn short you couldn't aim your gun at him.
Well, you want to know? We'll get the gameplay later, but go ahead. Let's hear it.
So I'll send it right now. Retro 1, I gotta send you a video, and you're gonna spend 25 minutes watching this video. But if you watch this video, they told you originally, before they put Oddjob, Mayday, Baron Samedi, all that, they originally wanted you to play as all the different Bonds, like Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and all that.
I'm surprised they didn't do that.
But because they couldn't get permission from certain actors. They couldn't get permission for the actors' permission. They got Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton,
Each one's
all
copyright.
that. But the one that's holding out was Sean Connery. He didn't think the game was going to sell, so he didn't want to use his likeness. He told them no.
Sean Connery, you idiot!
So that plan got scrapped. Like, okay, so how can we pay tribute to all the previous Bond movies? And
Well,
the
great.
era,
Well, now I hate Sean
eras?
Connery now. I'm kidding.
So it's like they had to find a way to. Okay,
Yeah.
we can't use the previous Bonds, so who were iconic villains or whatnot from those eras?
That's
that
true.
we used that would be okay.
Yeah.
So at the time, they thought Oddjob's the most familiar for Sean Connery's
Yes.
era because of his hat and his short stature. He's perfect for the game. So that's probably why they said, okay, let's include Oddjob for the Connery era.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. Because you have to have some sort of nostalgia. Something when you're looking at a game, and it doesn't matter what's going on, that you can go back and say, I remember that. Oh yes, this, and it's got to be a tie point, you know.
Yeah. All right. So, what would you guys score for characters?
10.
10.
I still give it a 10. I mean, for that era, I would give it out of 10.
All right. I can see
And
that.
And a good thing too, but if you think about yours, oh sorry, yours.
Go ahead.
Yeah. For me, 8.
I know.
I'm sorry. That Oddjob drops 2 points for me. I hate that character with all my passion because my friends would always cheat and use him while I use always Bond.
Well,
Oddjob prejudice.
prejudice my ass. Trust me when it comes down to it. I at least play fair. I use every other character than Odd Job. I at least play fair. My friends never could.
No.
And they took advantage of that.
They understood the premise of the game. When we get into gameplay, we'll start talking about the mechanics of it.
Oh, I'm gonna rage at this game.
Well, I'm just saying is, we'll just go forward.
All right, so here we go. Music, well, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. It's the same freaking music from the movie, so they didn't have to change much.
Not.
Well, when it comes to its theme song, they kept the same.
It's Gun Barrel's theme song anyway.
Yeah, of course.
And the Bond theme in general.
Yeah.
But again, when I do this video, you'll learn more about it. But for the music, actually, each level for all the different levels is a different Bond movie theme song, but with the restraint and restrictions. And
that's
all
actually
that.
that's what I love about it, because that's the type of nostalgia I love.
Mm-hmm. It was like they had to take a theme song from a movie and type it in it so tight to fit that little bitty sound card fit into that level.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This little cartridge.
Very tight with restrictions, but they somehow made it work. Grant Kirkhope and Graham Wright.
Oh God, that dude is a musical genius.
What you have to understand too is that when you already have music from Bond, you already know no matter what happens, the game is going to have that level that's going to bring up your heart rate, that's going to get that adrenaline flowing. It's actually going to help you concentrate more on the game. Because now you're really playing. It's kind of almost like getting rated. You know, when you get rated on Twitch or on Facebook and stuff like that, your adrenaline goes and you get more laser focused because you want to, all the people coming in, you want to make sure that you're giving them a good show. But the music on GoldenEye does that, just like if it was going to be a raid. It focuses you, it gets you going. But sometimes what it does is it gets your adrenaline going so much. And when we get into gameplay is when I'll discuss this a little bit more. But that adrenaline also can work against you. But that's just my thought for right now.
So what do you guys see for the music overall?
I'd give it a 10.
10? Oh yeah, definitely.
10.
Yeah.
10 definitely for me. I'm gonna give it a 10. It deserves it.
And Retro, I sent you this video. You have to watch it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll watch it
video,
again.
When you watch it, your world is gonna change.
I've already seen this.
Okay, let's.
But I'm still gonna watch it anyway because it is a really good video. Alright, so next of course is design. Now normally, yes, for those of you guys who have watched the old GoldenEye video game reviews and all that, and if you've seen a lot of the gameplay, you know the game has not aged well at all. Again, but it's N64, but I'm gonna think of it through the lens of when it first came out. And for when it comes to design, it's pretty good. Pretty decent. I think overall they managed to capture the feel of 007 in 64-bit. I think they did a pretty good job.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because think about it this way. This is a console that was dealing with 3D 64-bit graphics card. So yeah, trying to put a movie like 007 into a game like this is a huge undertaking, especially for Rareware, or Rare as they're known, because Rare basically were the masters of game development, especially when it comes to making games look amazing on systems and pushing them to the limit. Look at Donkey Kong Country for a great example of that. Or heck, look at Battletoads on the NES. Or look at,
Killer Instinct 2.
Yeah, Killer Instinct 2. Or the aforementioned Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, and yes, even Perfect Dark and GoldenEye.
The thing with GoldenEye was it brought out 4-player. It really brought out the 4-player
That's
game.
gameplay.
I know. That's what I'm just saying. But we're talking about the design, even in that aspect, over there. You got to figure that if they're taking that, what's left of the 64, really, and pushing it to its absolute limit in the design factor, and still be able to give you a high quality game like that. I was very impressed with it. I mean, it was something that was so new that it's still the foundational part of a lot of basically of every multi, what am I trying to say? Don't get old. See, this is what happens when you get old. You have a thought, and then all of a sudden it goes away. No, it's basically multiplayer. It's a multiplayer game, which is kind of the basis of all of it, right there.
Very true. So what would you guys give design overall for the score?
Well, I'm going to give it a 10 just because I believe the reason why I believe it is because there were so many innovations on this game. When it came out and stuff like that. And as I said, it's the foundation to a lot of multiplayer games anyway. So I give it a 10.
What about you, Phoenix Fire?
I give it a 10 because not many people paid attention to details or the small things in games. They just wanted to play it, beat it, maybe play with a friend, or just put it on their shelf, let it collect dust, forget it was there.
Very true.
With GoldenEye, it's like they studied the movies to get the levels so accurate. Like you could tell they really watched the movie to study the movie. Okay, this scene's in the movie. Let's find a way to incorporate that scene into this level. It's like let's try to make it as faithful as a recreate as we possibly could.
Very true.
Yes.
And then
it's just like characters. It's like they were so detailed with the characters. Like you could tell they wanted to make them so much like the characters. Like you could tell they analyzed the characters. Like, okay, this character's wearing this in one scene. Like for example, Boris with that grungy orangey shirt.
Yeah.
When he's in Cuba, they paid so much attention to the movie. Like, okay, have to incorporate this into the game somehow. It's like fans are gonna know who the character is as soon as they see that shirt.
They're gonna know immediately.
Like they paid so much attention to detail.
Yeah, but again, that's rare for you. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go over the final category, gameplay. Oh my God, I want to rip this game apart.
Now, you have to understand with the gameplay and stuff like this. I'm gonna give it a 10 still, but I have some caveats.
I hate you.
No, but I have some caveats here. One of them
So is it really give me a 10 then?
Well, it's because with the innovations. I'm going with the innovations on the game in itself. But one of the things that I remember when I was playing it right over there, it's basically trying to shoot, the long shot. Like the reason why Oddjob was such a great character to be able to have was because the game was so precise on how you had to shoot. Right over there, you could even have your crosshairs on the person and still miss, because that was the tight tolerance that they have on the actual gun.
You couldn't go point up or down.
But the point still is that it still did not matter, because there's times I'll go up there and shoot unless I was drunk with one eye open or something else like that. I don't know how I can miss this person. But that was one of the things that I actually saw. And actually, when I played it, now mind you, this was years and years and years and years and years ago, back in the days when I was actually good at those things. But all I can say is that really it was just trying to get the shot. And of course, you got to remember, when you're trying to pull every ounce of a 64 out of this, you're going to have some lag, you're going to have some other things, and basically, the more people you got, the kind of almost like it wasn't as fluid as...
Oh, no, it was actually fluid, actually.
But not as fluid as if it was just a 1 or 2 player game, what I'm trying to say? But what I'm just trying to say is that was just because it squeezed every ounce of that N64. So, but the thing is, it was the innovations of the game that really kind of made it to the point of where you're starting to take a look at the Halos and all these other different things. I really think that they took all of the things that they know they can be able to do with the newer consoles coming out with the discs and stuff, and that's where you really saw how GoldenEye affected everything down the line.
Yeah. What about you, Phoenix Fire? What's your score, and why would you give it?
Actually, 10. and obviously,
Of
perfect.
course.
Again, but to go along with what you're saying, to elaborate too, if you think of it, the Nintendo 64 was just coming off of the Super Nintendo era. It's like we were so used to 16-bit games, and it's like it was a step up to 32-bit. So it's like we went from the pixelated called Super Nintendo games to what we had then. Now we got 32-bit pixelated games. It's like no one expected that.
Very true.
Very true.
And if you think of it too, it's like originally how GoldenEye was supposed to be on the Super Nintendo as a virtual cop game. It wasn't supposed to be first-person shooter.
Yep.
We thought, okay, a night-scrolling shoot-'em-up game like on Super Nintendo. But then they decided, you know what? No, it's not going to be on the Super Nintendo. Surprise! We're going to make it put it for the new console. We're going to launch it with the new game system. We're going to show the world something that they've never seen before. We're going to put them into a world that they've always wanted to be in.
And that's
how
very
many
true.
of us can honestly lie or deny that we never wanted to be in the Bond universe.
Yeah.
Everybody
I think we've all
wants
had
to be
that fantasy
Bond.
at one point in our life. Sure, we've had the books and whatnot in the movies, but it's like for a video game, it's like we never actually got to see it for our own eyes. What it's like to see through Bond's head, through what he sees, and then GoldenEye brought that to us. We got to see everything through his eyes, his perspective. Sure, there were some things that we wish we could have seen. Also, as not gonna lie, who wouldn't want to see this eye through Bond drinking a vodka martini, chicken not stirred? Come on now.
Now they should have did that as a cutscene.
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
I was drinking a vodka
I get the love.
martini.
I get the love making. Yeah, that would have made the game a rated R game if they did the love making.
Oh, you think? It wouldn't have belonged to Nintendo if that would have happened.
But it makes you wonder though, how many of us have really say that we wanted to see through the eyes of Bond, not just through the movies or the books.
I want to.
Everybody
brought that to us.
All right.
I agree.
All right. My turn. This game can go screw itself. I hate this gameplay. Here's the thing. I love the game for all of its innovations. It helped make Halo and Call of Duty. I'm so thankful for it in every sense of the word. But have you ever played on an N64 controller? That thing is a piece of crap. And I'm trying really hard to control myself right now. I hate that controller so much. It is one of my most hated controllers of all time, aside from the Dreamcast controller. Actually, no, scratch that. The CDI controllers are worse. But I'm just digressing here. And that's just one major complaint, is the controls. The controls are so damn hard. There are so many damn control schemes. I'm like, which one am I supposed to use? And will this work better than the other one? No, they all suck. Beyond any shadow of a doubt. There is only one time I ever managed to find a good control scheme, and it was just barely working for me. Second is Oddjob. He is the cheapest character you could ever get in the game. The only way you can ever have Oddjob in the game is if everyone was playing Oddjob. That's the only way you can have a good match without raging to the sky wondering what in the hell is everyone's problem. I should know. I'm a victim of those Oddjob players. And let's not even get...
That's a good question for you.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Let's take a... Alright. Now, and let's just take a look at the weapons. Alright, for as much as I love the large array of weapons in the campaign mode, I'm not complaining about that. But multiplayer, you barely get any weapons at all. It's just only 3 guns, that's all you get, and maybe the occasional golden gun. Come on, where's the AK-47 or the M16 or some of the other weapons that were used in the James Bond films? You could have put so many amazing weapons in the game. Instead, you just gave us those 3. Or heck, just a silenced pistol for anything. It's like, come on. You could have at least given a little bit more arsenal to the game. And it's not even that much. All you have to do is just add a little bit of a design or make a gun that looks similar to the other, except maybe a different color scheme. And, no, I'm not finished. You put that hand down right now. And finally, I'm going to get into the good parts. 1, the map designs are amazing. The map designs are fantastic. Each and every locale looks completely unique from each other. Absolutely amazing, bar none. Even the levels in the campaign look freaking awesome, as well as when they do the cutscenes. Fan-freaking-tastic. The character designs, and the characters and how they move, how they play. Each one actually has a slight difference to them, which makes them more unique, allowing them to actually play to the playstyle that you want. And then, of course, there's the infamous golden gun I mentioned. For as much as I know some of my friends hated me when I used that gun on them, that's because I earned it, damn it. I earned that golden gun, and I'm going to win this match no matter what you guys say. Because I am going to aim the golden gun, I'm going to shoot, you're going to die, I'm going to win automatically. And that's after I've gotten the set amount of kills I needed. Not to mention, this game set the standard for what other first-person shooters would go for later on down the line. Doom started the whole genre of first-person shooters. GoldenEye redesigned it from the ground up. Halo made it more modern. If anything, if it wasn't for GoldenEye, we wouldn't have the amazing first-person shooters we have nowadays. So I'm never going to deny that this game did a fantastic job in every sense of the word. But there are a lot of complaints I'm going to make that are going to absolutely drop my score. I'm done.
Okay.
What were you about to say, Phoenix Fire?
Okay, I can fight you a little bit, but one, you gotta remember, it was 1997. You have to remember with the N64 games and how much space and whatnot they had. They had restraints. They were very, somewhat constricted. They had to remember what they could all do for what they wanted to do. They had to do with things with the limitations. Because if you think of it, you're saying about the controls. What would have done if they had done the original control scheme for GoldenEye, and that was disconnecting, reconnecting a transfer pack like you're actually reloading a gun? Would that make the game any easier than what the control schemes were?
That's not what I'm saying, Phoenix Fire. Like, for one thing, you want to know a simple damn way to get the controls to work a little bit better? How about, I don't know, use the C stick to actually move your character up or down. So that way, if you face down on job, you can at least shoot the son of a bitch.
Okay. So let's take a look right here. Let's go back. Let's go back to a guy who was actually alive and old enough to play the game. Okay? So what we're going to say is, for right now, is that let's take a look at controllers nowadays. Okay? So take a look right here, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just going to point this over here. Take a look at this nice controller here. Okay? You take a look at this nice controller here. Oh, am I on the point?
Yeah, give me a
Right
second.
here.
I'm trying to...
Okay, nice controller, right?
I'm trying to find the N64. Give me a second.
Take a look right here. Take a look at this nice controller right here.
There it is.
I think I got it. Okay. So we're talking about innovations too. So let's take a look at the N64 controller right over here. Okay. Now, is this, you're taking a look right over here. This was pretty how would you want to say it? Pretty awesome at the time. You go up there, you have a good handle right over here, trigger point right here. You also have it, if you take a look right over here, take a look where the handles are on the sides right over here. So you're also talking about, a lot of the other new styles right over here really kind of took a look right off that N64 controller. Right
they
there.
Did not. They took a lot from the GameCube.
Yeah, but basically what I'm saying is that was the basis for the controllers. Take a look at the handles on the side. What I'm trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to go back and you have to be thinking back. When I see a lot of different reviews on this particular game from gamers that was not necessarily alive at the time or progressed in how we had to deal with Pong back in the day. You had the ColecoVision. You had all of these different things with joysticks and stuff. So you have to understand that we had a joystick and a button. That's pretty much what it was back in the day. Or a
As you
handle
guys
and a
can
turn.
see up there with the Atari.
Yes. But what I'm trying to say is, for right now, take a look at the handle right over here. Take a look at that control. That controller did lead into all of the other controllers that are taking a look right now.
That's not what I'm saying.
But my point is that you got to understand that they took everything that they could and made that thing go as well as it did, right? Just like with Donkey Kong Country, right at the end of the term. Same with Chrono Trigger. They squeezed every ounce of everything from it. You can't take what is today and trying to think back on how you're going to be able to do this. Yes, there's a lot of reverse engineering. We wish that we could go up there and do that, but that's not what it is. At the time, the innovation that was there and it was strong. Yes, there was a lot of problem with gameplay, but you can say that to almost every game nowadays. There's still going to be something wrong with every game that's out there.
Okay, first of all, that's not what I was saying if you were listening. The reason why I said that is that all they had to do was make the C-stick be able to, of course, you could still keep the strafe with left and right, but then you could also have the ability to look up or down. It was following the same damn formula of Doom, where it was only just turned side to side, and that was it.
Well,
I think, if anything, with the N64 controller, you had so much potential to allow free movement of the camera, which they could have easily done, but unfortunately they did not, and that's the reason why I personally think they could have easily fixed that problem back then.
Well, I don't think they were going to be able to fix
Especially
the
since
problem
free-roaming
back then.
cameras at the time were doing so well.
As
Look at
I
Super Mario 64 that came before it.
But we're talking about right over here too. We're talking about a first-person shooter game that was multiplayer. So you got to understand, you have to sacrifice something for something. I mean,
You have to. That's the thing.
Even in Halo, that's what happened. Go ahead, Phoenix.
And that's the thing too. I remember back in the late '90s too, things were very limited too for what they could not do in a controller.
That
They
is
were
very
just trying
true.
to make the most of it. When they made GoldenEye, they did again. Remember, it was supposed to be on the Super Nintendo. It was going to be like a virtual cop. It wasn't going to be first person. It wasn't until last minute Ken Log pushed that rear, like, you know what? This game shouldn't be a virtual cop simulator. It has to be a first person shooter. We have to make it different. We have to make this game stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, originally Rare wanted them to do the transfer pack where you unplug it, plug it back in, like you'd be reloading an actual gun.
Yeah, and honestly,
And
I
again-
don't... Hold on.
Again, with the controller, they're like, you know what? Can we do it? They tried it, but it
Oh,
didn't work as they planned. Like, we got to do this in another way that'll
Yeah.
work with the controller at the time. You have to remember the limitations we have.
Well, and that's very, very true. And as like I said too, is that when you're starting to make things for something else, you're gonna sacrifice certain things to go up there to make sure that everything is going to be working properly. Because what happens is kind of like even with Halo, and later on when they go up there, they had all these grandiose ideas and stuff, but they run into time constraints or whatever. But you still got to work on core set of things. And I think that GoldenEye actually proved that pretty well, in a sense that it stuck with the core set of things that it was going to be set out to do.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
All right.
And I think because of that core set, I think that's where the actual gameplay in itself did very, very well.
Yes.
Yes, if we're if we're going to go in there and we're going to get overly detailed. Now, mind you, I'm defending the game because of the fact that I went from a Pong controller and we went through all of that stuff to something like this, which was something innovative, very, 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 very wonderful, and it was really nice to see things start to be able to move, feel better on your hands in a little rectangular piece right over there with all the buttons. That was a very excellent. It was more ergonomically, and it made you actually be able to play the game better, So that's how I look at it. Now, mind you, I'm looking at it from a guy who went from, basically Pong and, actually making a game based off that same type of graphics design at the time until that point. So I'm looking at it from basically from classic to moving forward.
Yeah.
Most of the people are looking at all this great grandiose things they have here and then trying to go back So I'm just trying to say is that I'm defending it more because, I've seen the development and I've seen where we've gone in video games. So that's how I look at it.
All right, but still, for as much as I do agree with you guys on those points, it's not going to change my score whatsoever. I'm still sticking with sticking with a 7.
We're not making you change your score.
I know, but I was hoping that your arguments would help. But
well, you want to know something? Our arguments are not going to go up there and change how you absolutely feel about it. It wasn't supposed to. It was you were already dead set on giving it a 7. It was going to stay a 7 no matter.
Oh no,
it
was going to be a 5. You guys at least helped me raise it to a 7.
Okay, so we raised it up a couple of points, but that was the best we're going to be able to do.
Honestly, overall though, I still love this game. Don't get me wrong. And yes, for as much as I made those complaints, I still love this game regardless of whatever score I was going to give it. And I still recommend this game to anybody you can get your hands on. But I don't recommend the GoldenEye for the N64. I recommend the GameCube version. Not only does it manage to fix everything that I have literally complained about this game about, but it managed to add more content and absolutely flushed out the gameplay in such a way that it is now, in my personal opinion, perfect in my eyes on the GameCube version. But again, still, avoid the N64, go with the GameCube. But if you want nostalgia, I highly recommend this.
So yeah,
this game is amazing.
Just remember, I go back to Gerard when they were doing the thing. If technology lived in a bubble, in a vacuum.
There you go.
Yeah, in a vacuum.
All right, so let's just finally end this one right here, okay? So we can get into Retro Evolution and all that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Next, of course, we have the scores. Well, again, you guys gave perfect 50s. Mine went from 40 to 44.
Okay.
And I don't think you were here for the movie one. Yours went from 45 to 49.
Yes.
Mine was 40 to 48.
Well, but just because when you start talking about the movie and you start really seeing all of the nice, when you start seeing how it progressed forward and how they were forward thinking on a lot of their things too, and how they made some changes, subtle. But those subtle changes were actually very huge in the Bond universe.
All right, here we go, guys. Retro Evolution. Now, you two are excluded from the GoldenEye version.
Well, I know that.
Because you guys got perfect 50. But he's excluded from both.
Because it's his birthday. He's allowed to go up there. It's only birthday time. Only birthday
I can't
time.
break tradition. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But, however, we have several questions for you, actually, from the fans. So this will be very interesting. But yeah, what would you change about the GoldenEye film in your eyes?
Well,
if you were in the director's chair.
I think the only thing, because, you're still talking about story and stuff like that. And even though that I gave 10s and everything that I saw for right over there. But I think the only thing that I can really think of at this point is, how do I want to word this? I don't know. I guess that, because we've dealt with Soviet, we dealt with all this other stuff right over there. I really like how they went back to almost like a Spectre type thing. Because Spectre was definitely kind of like a terrorist organization, clear back then.
Yeah.
For some reason, for me, I really liked, I would have liked to have seen that. I thought I thought having a betrayal there was very, very good. But a kind of betrayal there kind of reads into, the way it was going to go. Mm-hmm. But I really like this scene more of not so much like a Russia type of a thing, but a Spectre type of a thing. But that's just me, and that was the only thing that I would have done, because I think it should have been more terroristic, because that means that person's actually on their own. You know what I mean?
True.
And they're doing it for reasons that are not necessarily Cold War or anything else like that.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to see it more in a Spectre type of realm there, that the person was manipulated or finally agreed with this, that we need to go in this direction right over here. That's just my thought.
I think I have to agree with you on that one. Plus, I think they should try to fix a couple of the scenes in the movie that honestly are more nitpicks in my personal opinion than anything else. But again, that's just me. As for the game, well, you've already heard my complaints about the game, so just play the GameCube version. That it fixes all the problems I literally have with the game. Even Odd Job, where I can actually point down and shoot the little son of a bitch. But again, that's the reason why I prefer the GameCube version. Anyway, now it's time for the questions. And Phoenix Fire, you got a lot.
Okay.
Alright. But, you know what? Screw it. I am going to break tradition this one time. Phoenix Fire, if you were given the director's chair for both the game as well as, of course, the movie, what would you change about him and why?
Okay, if I were to change something about the movie and all that, well, I get it would make sense, but the way we got a flashback back into when Bond was in the 80s, infiltrating the facility in the beginning of the movie, I would have liked to see something similar, like when he's going to Russia to meet with Jack Wade and all that, Zukovsky. That would have been interesting, like maybe get like a little flashback, like when you get to see Bond shoot him in the leg and cause the limp. To see why he has that hostility to 007. So I kind of would have liked to see that as a little flashback. That would have been really interesting to see, just for the heck of it.
Alright.
But then for the game, I know they couldn't really get the permission, Nintendo wouldn't give them permission, but I kind of wish they would have actually were allowed to include some more of the female NPCs besides Natalia and Xenia.
Yeah.
Because nearly all the levels, it's all males. It's like, it would have been interesting to see a female Russian commander or a female pedestrian running away from Bond while he's trying to finish his mission and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or maybe actually see like a virtual Money Penny and all that, give her colorful commentary like she does in the comments when you get the mission briefing. Like, it would have been funny to see that little NPC model of Money Penny telling you, like, for example, when Bond for the dam, like, which says, "Hardly a lover's leap, James." It would be cute to see like a little Money Penny say that.
Yeah.
Alright. Here is the first question for you, Phoenix Fire. Would you love to see, if you were to choose, if you were to see like GoldenEye here, get a remaster, would you be excited about it, or would you think that might not be such a good idea?
Yes, I would like to see it remastered because it'd be nice to let a whole new generation of Bond fans and the next generation of video gamers get to see what we got to go through.
Oh, yeah.
And spoiler alert, if you, not, well, I don't know if it's a spoiler alert, but I mean, it spoils. The past couple of days now, GoldenEye 007 has been trending. It's all over all the gaming websites and whatnot. And they're saying how, because right now there's a big leak of Xbox achievements for GoldenEye.
Nice.
And fans are wondering, is this a sign GoldenEye is coming back to console? And I can say right now, from my inside source, GoldenEye is coming back, the N64 version, coming to the Switch, and it's coming to Xbox, but the release date is under top secret wraps, and it's like, you're just going to have to wait until Xbox announces it.
It will definitely be interesting to say the least. Personally, if they make a remaster...
So if you ever get and plus, there was a leaked remaster last February, January, going into February. There was the Xbox Live Action Arcade version was leaked. And you actually got to see what it was going to look like back in 2007. Mm-hmm. And it was a good leak. And now that all this GoldenEye news is coming out, because basically GoldenEye's got lifted from being banned in Germany for Nintendo, that's got lifted. And wow. Nintendo basically owes Microsoft a favor. So right now, GoldenEye has been in talks, and as right now, it is coming. It is going to be coming out this year for Xbox because of the 60th anniversary of 007.
Makes sense.
Well, and that would be, to me, it would make sense, because anytime that you start getting chatter, anytime you start getting things on, or the game, or starting to see gameplays and achievements starting to ramp back up, what you're basically going to see, you might even see this be a part of something at E3.
Or heck, it could be a complete remake instead of a remaster.
Well,
especially if you add it with
it's
new,
not
more
gonna be-
modern
well,
controls.
I think this is going to be a remake because I don't think you should remaster it. I think you should remake it. If you're going to do a remake of it.
Oh yeah, especially since with modern controls nowadays, it would fit extremely well now than it ever did back in the day.
Well, you got to remember, that was built back in 1995, right? And how many Bond
97.
films?
97.
97. So let's take a look. How
This-
many
this
Bond
year-
films?
So now this year it turns 25.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking the movie. So let's just say from 97 until now, right? How many Bond films has been out since then?
Trying to
About
think.
6 or 7.
Okay, so 6 or 7. So they're already 6 or 7 Bonds behind. So what are you going to see when you start seeing this thing? You can't remaster it. I mean, if you want to remaster it, you're only remastering it up till 97. But if you're going to remake it, you might as well just add the other 6 or 7 Bond films to it.
True. All
And
right.
actually, the remaster that they were working on, they were going to let you can either use the modern day graphics that they had, or you could actually switch back to the SD4 graphics too.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
if you
that
watched
was
the leak.
That was a great thing about Halo. Where you could
Yeah,
be
they
able to
did the
switch-
anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, when you could be able to switch back to the original graphics and to the new graphics, which
Yeah.
is just night and day.
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay.
That's how the GoldenEye remake is going to be when it comes out.
No, that's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
nice then. Yeah. That's
All
nice.
right. Next question for you. Who do you think is your personal favorite James Bond?
Oh, God,
And this is for all of
that's
us.
a good question.
Connery.
Okay,
I'm saying Connery. I'm
I-
sorry.
I'll be honest. I like Timothy Dalton because he was that dark, edgy. Well, I
Okay.
would say sinister, but he was that gritty version that Bond was always supposed to be that we could never get, say in the 60s or 70s. But then again, I also like Roger Moore because he had a bit of a campy, light sense of humor approach to Bond. He wanted to bring some joy into his life, that he's not always dark.
He was the
depressing.
saint.
Got shoot first.
Yeah. Ask questions later.
So that's what I liked about Roger. That's what I liked about Roger Moore. He had that bit of campy humor that we needed at the 70s.
All
But
right.
I like Timothy Dalton because he was the dark edgy. He was the Bond that we always wanted, but at the time they didn't know how to write for him, or they didn't know if they could get away with it back then. Because back then, the 60s and 70s, it was a hard time to do certain things. Like, oh, you
Yeah.
can't do that. But the 80s, they had that freedom. Like, oh, it's you're more than welcome to try that now. We're open to it. Let's try.
True.
But then if you look at Pierce Brosnan, he was the mixture of everybody. He was a mixture of Connery, a mixture of Roger Moore, a bit of Dawn, a bit of Lazenby. He had all of them mixed in.
Yeah. Honestly, if I were to choose my personal favorite, it'd have to be Pierce Brosnan. He had just like Phoenix Fire said, he had the mixture of everybody. He basically tried to create almost the perfect Bond, which in a way I think he does in spades better than Daniel Craig ever could. And I know people are going to absolutely argue with me in the comments or anywhere saying that no, Daniel Craig's better. I'm like, do you know anybody else who's had a bigger boom than Pierce Brosnan did? Nah, I don't think so.
Well, if you think about it, another thing too about Daniel Craig's era of Bond, if you look at it, they were really just trying to capitalize off the Jason Bourne franchise at the time because
That's
everyone
true.
was becoming hardened and hardcore. They were so interested, like a character like Jason Bourne, like, oh, this guy's badass. He doesn't care about life. Let's try to make that like Bond, and that's what Daniel Craig tried to do, make his Bond like Jason Bourne. He didn't care about anything except being badass and hardcore.
Well, like for me, the reason why I like Connery was the fact that it was just his. I think out of all of them, he kind of was the one that kind of, to me, just stood out the most. He reeks Bond. Seriously. I know he's the first, but he's still Bond as Bond. Daniel Craig reminds me more of Connery, and the reason why I say that is because the physicality.
I always thought he reminded me of Timothy Dalton.
Well, he did. Well, the reason why I thought to me, Daniel Craig was more for Connery was because they were both more physical. I mean, out of all of them, they were the more physical.
Oh yeah,
type
of course.
Of
Yeah.
Bonds and stuff like that. So he reminds me of that. Now Dalton kind of reminds me of the one Bond we never really talked about, the one that did on Her Majesty's Secret Service. You know, because he also had a dark side to it because he just lost his wife, all these other different things too. He was already in kind of that bad place. You know what I'm trying to say? Already emotionally compromised and a few other things like that. So when you start taking a look at Timothy Dalton, you could go back to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And you could take a look at that Bond there, and that Bond right over there kind of had kind of the similarities. Where Pierce Brosnan, out of all of them right over there, he really was different. Same with Roger Moore. Both of them would be out of all of them, would be the only one that's kind of the originality, I guess you would say. Because there's not one that's been like Roger Moore, and I don't really think there's been one that's been like Pierce Brosnan. So that's how I look at it, and I agree that Roger Moore still brought the suave and still brought that debonair, but he also brought, like you said, a little bit of that humor, kind of humanizing Bond.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, here's the next one. For Phoenix Fire, who do you think would play a great James Bond in a newer film if they were to make a newer one?
Well, they're going to be making newer Bond movies now that Daniel Craig's done. But
yeah,
that's
for a
true.
new direction in the series, I would bet either Henry Cavill, because he's not too young. He's just about the right age.
Yeah,
he would make a one.
Alright.
Because plus he is a popular actor in demand because everybody loves him as Superman right now.
Yeah,
that's true.
But if not him, Hugh Jackman.
Yes, I was thinking Hugh Jackman too. Yes,
that's true. All right, next question.
Oh my God, he would be good.
It's like, you know what? Yep.
All right, you ready for this next one?
That was my pick, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. All right, here's the next question.
Yes.
How do you think Adam West would have done if he would have played James Bond?
Honestly, I'll say right now, no. No. I'm like MGM and all the producers and whatnot. Bond is strictly British. Not to be insulting to the U.S., but there's no way in hell James Bond could ever be an American or a Canadian. He has to be a British male. He has to have that accent that no one else has. That makes him stand out. That background, so to speak.
That's true.
It was kind of like.
But, however, if you were to exclude that, how do you think he would do?
If he might have done differently, but to be Bond, you basically have to have that edge, so to speak. Everyone pretty much sees Adam West as Batman. That they just see him as the comedian. See him somewhat dark, but that has for 007 hat. It's like he doesn't got that. For an American version of Bond, like a relative or something like that, might have worked back then. But
true.
As Bond himself, I just can't see it.
Well, personally speaking, I mean, they thought of Adam West and they thought of Robert Vaughn, and I'll be honest with you, I could not see, even though he was from The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but I could not see Robert Vaughn being Bond at all. So, I mean, at that point, even during that time frame. Now, if you watch some of Adam West's older movies and stuff like that, I think he would have done very, very well as a Bond because of some of his other movie roles. But the problem is, with him being Batman and then casted, that stigma would have been with him anyway, which would have killed the Bond character after one movie with him, even if they decided to do it. But I actually believe that if his British accent or something like that, but you got to have a it's kind of like you have to have that swagger, you know, and if you don't
True.
have that swagger, there's just no way in hell that you're going to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, if he wasn't on Batman, if he didn't have Batman under his name, I think he would have gotten the job, and he could have been able to pull it off.
He might have been able to, yes.
But again, that's just me. Okay, we have another question, and this one's actually very interesting.
What the heck is that? Is that you?
No. What the heck is that noise? Hey, Phoenix, is it coming from you?
Not any better.
Yeah, I don't hear it come from him either. All right, whatever. It's weird. Anyway, if you guys were to choose a song for a James Bond film, what song would that be?
From the movies?
Yeah. What would you say, like, if you were to introduce a song into the James Bond universe, what would you think would work?
I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but from the Romeo and Juliet movie with Leonardo, it's called Number One Crush by Garbage. And if you listen to the lyrics, like how she's like, I would die for you, and all that, it's like, it conveys how Bond is as a protector. It's like, he's willing to take his life just to protect the world.
That's very true, yeah.
So if you get a chance to listen to that song,
I personally think anything hard rock would really kind of do it. Something that just it's pulsating. It's like going. I'm not trying. I'm just kind of like saying like Crazy Train or something. You know, it's not necessarily that, but that era of music I think would be really era or that type of music I think would be really good. Just because, you know, there's so much action, there's so much go, there's so much now type of a thing. And I really think that for the Romeo and Juliet themes right there, you could be able to utilize that more for his love of country, his love of women, his love of a good vodka martini, you know what I mean? And then when you start getting into the good action stuff and like that, then you can have something go out there.
It goes with, according to it, it owes its style to Indian music, surf rock, and American jazz.
Oh, American jazz, okay.
I'm trying to think of jazz. Hold on.
I can think of a good song for a James Bond parody, actually.
Parody?
What?
I Have Reputation by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. That'd be a good song, Bond team parody.
Well, yeah, you know, but the thing is I think a lot of things can be Bond. You know, really, because, you know, it's kind of like we were talking earlier about the movie. And just going into the GoldenEye, and you know, and started going up like that, how they started really making the music of that time frame kind of the basis or the major part, but still have all of the classic what made Bond there, but it was more of in a supporting role. So I think that as long as music evolves, so will the music to Bond. You know what I mean?
Another song too that comes to my mind
Yeah?
would be interesting too. I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor, because it's true. Bond will do anything to survive.
Oh hell yeah,
True,
he does.
but I
That's
almost
true.
feel like it's a little...
No, but it's.
I was thinking like "Give Me a Kiss to Build a Dream On" by Louis Armstrong.
Well, that would be more older Bond.
Yeah, like a Sean Connery.
Hold on a second.
At least that's what I'm going for. Jazz songs here. That's the reason why. I'm not trying to go for any other genre at this point. But that's just me, though. I personally would love to see that type of song used in James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Another interesting one too, "A Kiss from a Rose" by Seal.
Oh, now that would.
It worked very well in Batman Forever. I think it could work there.
'Let's see what this one is.
Hey, they could always be cheesy like they did in GoldenEye. Use the song "Stand by Your Man."
Motorhead overkill.
No.
Area. How about
No.
Heartbreaker?
I don't know. No. Oh! Stop it.
What?
I know one.
What?
Feeling Good by Michael Bublé. You have to admit, that would be pretty freaking awesome.
I got one.
There's another one too. Like say by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh.
Heartbreaker.
Oh.
Heartbreaker could work.
Yes.
Heartbreaker could definitely
Bond does
work.
break heart a lot.
Unfortunately, in his career, yes. No!
Actually,
No!
here's a good-
No, screw you.
Here's a-
No. We're not,
actually,
no.
Here's a good question.
Turn that off.
Who would you guys like to see? You say vote for singers and songs. Here's a good question for you guys. Who would you guys like to see sing a Bond theme that hasn't done it before?
Well, Michael Bublé, that's me. That's me.
Bublé all the way.
He already did really well with the Spider-Man theme song.
The reason why is because Bublé's just got that. He's got that sound.
That's
you
the reason
know?
why I say, like, Feeling Good. Or, there's a few other songs I try to remember that would work very well with him.
I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see Lady Gaga do it.
I don't know.
She
She
could-
would be way too out of place for that one.
Well, if they can get Madonna to do it unexpectedly, I'm sure they can get someone like Lady Gaga, if you think of it.
Yeah, I guess that could work then.
And the way Lady Gaga likes to do... If you think of it, Lady Gaga likes to do outlandish music videos.
That is true.
Madonna's Die Another Day music video incorporated the themes of the movie, but at the same time, it was a bit outlandish how it did so many Easter eggs to the other movies, if you look closely.
True. Okay. We have one last question before we end today's episode. If they were to make another 007 video game, which movie would you like to see it based on?
Ooh, that's a good one, actually. It would either have to be Moonraker,
Ooh.
or possibly somewhat maybe Die Another Day,
What about you?
or Skyfall, because
What was
Skyfall
that-
being the
what was
50th
that
anniversary.
Hold on.
Skyfall being the 50th anniversary, it's like it paid tribute to the whole era. franchise of
well,
007
If you were to see a new James Bond video game, which movie would you want it to be based on?
Oh my god. There's a lot.
That's my opinion.
Me, oh shoot. I actually, the one that I like, you only live twice, I think would be a really good one. You have Man with a Golden Gun. You have there's so many. There really is. There's just too many. But I do like the movie You Only Live Twice. It's a good movie. I mean, all the way around.
That's really interesting.
That's a good movie. I mean, and then if I was gonna pick probably another,
It's a really hard question.
I'm trying.
But On Her Majesty's Secret Service is definitely one.
Well, no, that's good.
And the other, if I were to choose one more, I have to look at. I gotta look up the 007 movies again. I forgot the name of the. I forgot the name of one of the movies.
Well, if you're thinking of a second one, the second one, I would go with. Oh shoot! God, there's too many. But I think Moonraker would still be a really good remake too.
Oh, Doctor No.
Oh, Doctor No. Oh, Doctor. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
I would say that the second would definitely be that one.
Yeah. Doctor No.
All right.
But there's so many good ones though. I mean, good lord, you could actually take the whole Bond series and make video games for all of them.
Pretty much. It's not that hard, especially for how much content, not just the movies, but the books have too. So you have plenty to work with.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, everyone. That is it for today's birthday extravaganza on RetroActive's Corner with 007. Of course, happy birthday there, Phoenix Fire.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, and also,
Thank you.
just like before, we, of course, let our guest star choose the game or movie or cartoon or anime or TV show or basically any form of media like that, and let them choose what they want us to review. So, Phoenix Fire, what would you want us to review in the future?
Do you really want me to say it?
What?
Uh-oh.
Sailor Moon.
I freaking hate you.
And I love you too, Retro. I told you, do you really want me to say it?
I freaking... damn it! Are you serious?
He's serious.
Sukikiwate Shokyo.
I hate you. Alright, but here's the thing. We're comparing the English dub as well as the English sub, because, good lord, I like the sub version better.
You have to do that. You have to compare the 90s dub and sub side by side. You can't try to deviate. You have to compare them.
Yeah,
Yes.
because, dear sweet Jesus, 4Kids, screw you.
Just to let you know, I'm not going to be there for this one.
Yeah, I don't want you to. This is torture for...
No. I don't even. I'm not really big into Sailor Moon. Never watched it, so I wouldn't know what you guys would be talking about. And plus, it sort of sounds like I don't really want to be here for this. So
Sub version's actually a lot better, honestly. It's the
I can
dub
always
that
give
they
an
just screwed.
alternate option if you would like.
What's-
Like option number 2.
What's the option number 2?
Beavis and Butthead.
no.
You don't have to do it.
No.
You don't have to do it.
No.
But I am willing to do that one more than Sailor Moon.
No.
Why did that sound so wrong when you started laughing? The fuck? What is wrong with you? Phrasing.
Retro, you're right here.
Shit.
Right here. Master Chief wants to do Sailor Moon.
No.
Jesus Christ.
No. I'll do it in slow motion for you.
Jesus.
No.
Alright. Okay, so
There we go.
we may have... Alright, so those will be put on the back burner, but I promise you guys we will do those soon. I'm honestly
Before you go-
not looking forward to it, but I'm gonna have to get them off the freaking table anyway. Once we do them, we're done forever.
And by the way, Retro, last night I thought of a perfect death battle after I left.
What'd you think of the death battle?
The Scarecrow versus Freddy Krueger.
Oh.
Battle of Nightmares and Fear.
Okay, yeah, that would work.
That would be good. That
Alright.
would be good.
As soon as I said goodnight, it came to me. I'm like, do I go across the stream and say it, or do I wait till tomorrow and hold it in?
No.
But
That was a
yeah,
good night, though. We were talking.
we actually did do a James Bond one. It was James Bond versus shoot. Oh yeah, Hitman
Hitman, yes.
from the Hitman video game series. And honestly, let us know who you guys think will win in the comments below, because I would love to hear what you guys have to say on who would actually win. But yeah, if you guys
Look
want,
what I told you.
who would
I
win?
like to see 007. I like to see 007 take on Joanna Dark. Primitive 90s versus futuristic technology of the 2000s.
I don't know, maybe.
But they're both agents for a spy agency. They're both adept and intelligent in their fields. They're
That's true.
very good at what they do.
Oh
Male
yeah,
versus female.
I could see that.
Bosses.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
It's true. All right, so that's definitely something to think about. All right, so again, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here today. Tomorrow, we will be playing GoldenEye for the N64. You, the bane of my existence, I will conquer you. I will destroy this game. Okay, not literally, because this actually is a really good game, one. But two,
Master Chief, can you do me a favor?
Yes, what'd you need?
Easy. If Retro's taking you on in GoldenEye, play as Odd for me.
I hate you. Okay, first of all, no, I'm doing the single-player campaign.
He's doing a single-player campaign, yes.
Because here's the thing.
He does multiplayer.
I
play as that job.
Oh, hold on. If I'm going to do multiplayer, I am going to get other people involved. Which means I also need to get more controllers. Because all I have is this one. That's the reason why I can't do multiplayer right now. But I promise that once I get more controllers, once I get more N64 controllers, I will. I'm even gonna contact freaking Snow and Gecko and Outcast Core, bring those two in, and maybe Master Chief if he wants to join in. And I swear to God, if any of these guys use Odd Job, I'm gonna kill them all.
No. I've already told that I have to be Odd Job.
Phoenix Fire, I hate you.
And he's a Korean guy, so guess what?
Too.
I'm half Korean.
But yeah,
it works with the family heritage. So leave it alone.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Also, another thing, I've never actually beaten the campaign mode on this.
Well, that'd be good.
So not only would this be redemption for me not being able to finish it back then, but I'm actually very excited to see not only playing this game on and finishing the entire story outright, but also to try to beat the campaign mode on the harder difficulty later. So it will be very interesting to see how well I do. I think I'm going to suffer big time, but what do you expect? Anyway, tomorrow,
If you ever need a guide, look up my YouTube friend, Graslow.
I will definitely do that because I may need help with this. I haven't played this game since
It's been a long time.
1999, if I remember correctly. I remember I played it 2 years before the game. 2 years after the game came out. So
well,
it's been a while for me. It's been over 20 years since the last time I played this game. And which, yes, I promise I will also do Perfect Dark after this one. Because if I'm going to do the entire Rareware collection, the only games I'm missing right now are Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Those are the only... and, of course, Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I'll have to look for those when I can. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to say the least. And, finally... Yes?
When you do Perfect Dark, you're going to have to do a retroactive corner on Perfect Dark, too.
Oh, there we go.
Well, of course. Because
you got to remember, there's Perfect Dark Zero, and now the remake that's coming out.
That is true. They are remaking it. You guys have any final words to say before we sign out?
Well, as I said, tune in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow, and you get to see him play
GoldenEye.
the bane of his existence.
Oh, I still love the game. It's just that I hate the gameplay sometimes.
Okay.
Anyway, Phoenix Fire, what about you? Any final words to say?
Yeah, in the name of the moon, I'll punish you.
I hate you so much.
There's a lot of love here.
Feed it.
Spread the love.
Power.
Spread the love.
Guys, you may not see it, but I have a giant black aura around me of absolute hatred and misery.
Are you guys? Retro's being controlled by the Negaverse. Cautious.
Trust me, trust me, when that review pops up, I am going to be raging to the sky on that game alone. Oh, shit, there goes the... I'll take that one. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys know when that review pops up, you're going to see me absolutely angry, rage-filled, and you'll be hearing me yell a lot. So beware when that review comes out, and if you are looking forward to me suffering, then enjoy yourself.
God, I don't get you to dress up like a Sailor Scout for that review.
Please don't.
I see you doing. I can see you as Sailor Mini Moon, you know, with your pink hair.
I'm not doing that. I'm not dressing up for any occasion.
Well, dress up like Sailor Scouts.
No.
I needed a good laugh, so thank you.
No worries. I am suffering big time right now.
No, I know you are.
He had to mention Sailor Moon.
Yes, he did.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
Kill me.
Well, it's going to be, as I said, it's going to be good. Tune in tomorrow because
we're going to be playing GoldenEye. So
I'm
going to at least look forward to that.
Yes.
I'm not looking forward to that future review. But yeah, if you guys are wondering, next week, or in this case next Saturday, we'll be actually doing the special Mythbusters Top 10.
Oh yes.
We're going to be discussing with each other our top 10 favorite myths on Mythbusters for our future episodes, and that's going to be happening next Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So until then, I hope you all have an amazing day. I will see you all next time. This is Mr. Retroactive signing out. Have a great day, everybody.
All right.